Hey guys, I'm currently editing this video right now. It's about my knee pain and how to fix it. I hope you stick around. There's a lot of information, but there are also a lot of bloopers. So I left most of them in the beginning. And I hope you enjoy, have fun, and get lots of information. So stay tuned. Bye. So this is my brother. Is it recording?
Yeah, it's recording.
Oh, take 6. Is it still recording?
No. It said power off. I don't know.
Yeah, guys. Okay, so finally, the video about my knee pain. So I started feeling this knee pain when I started to consistently go to the gym and do squats and lunges and basically any weightlifting with my knee. And then all of a sudden I started feeling it anytime I sat down, anytime I walked upstairs, and it just kept getting more and more sensitive to movement. So I went to my brother. He's an acupuncture and herbal medicine physician. I hope I'm getting that right. I spoke to him and I told him about my knee pain, and here's some footage of that.
There's a Chinese proverb, like I was saying, they say a door that is always opening and closing doesn't rust. Right, so a knee that doesn't use
It's part of the conversation that we'll have later on in the video. I tell him a little bit about, or I talk to you guys a little bit about the discomfort, how it normally feels. And so my regimen, or I wouldn't say regimen, but what I try to do on a weekly, semi-weekly basis are quite a few things. So one is a Moxibustion warm-up for the knee, an acupressure warm-up for the knee. That warm-up is specifically for when I'm at the gym. The Epson Salt soak, a medication balm, and the treatments with my brother. And here is a little part of what I do with the Epson Salt soak. I do give partial instructions there. I will link everything below, including the medication balm, the Epsom salt, and I will put a full description on this video for everything that I do. If you guys have any other questions, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. I will read them. Even if this video has been uploaded 6 years ago and you still have questions, I know that this is really important, and I'm pretty sure I'm not the only person with this problem. So if I can do anything to help you, I will, and I really hope that you guys get some good info from this video. Hello everybody, woo! First shot out of voiceover. Okay, let's see how it goes. So the first thing is to pour hot water into a cooler. I use a cooler instead of a bowl because it maintains its temperature a little bit longer. Feel free to use whatever you have at hand. Then I pour some Epsom salt. I normally use a ratio of about 4 cups of water and 1 cup of salt. I don't measure it out anymore because I've done it quite a few times. Also, I don't know if that's how much you're supposed to use, so please consult a professional or another YouTuber. Okay, so here we have possibly my favorite part of the routine, the medicated balm. It is called Woodlock Wong Tu Yik. I hope I'm pronouncing that okay. This is has a fantastic smell. I really love it. The actual prescription for my brother was Tiger Balm, which I've ordered and it's on its way. This is just what I have been using because it's what I already had. It's quite similar, so I hope the doctor doesn't mind. It's oil, so a little goes a long way. So I normally do a little drop on my finger and then rub it into the knee. I will definitely massage the surrounding area, covering a bigger circumference than just the knee. It's not an isolated incident, you know. Then I put a little bit of oil around the parts of my knee. I will massage with acupressure, and I do this quite often, so I know which parts of my knee I'm going to normally be pressing down on. And I'll show you in a minute how to find the spot on your knee to do acupressure. It's not the same exact spot for everybody. Obviously, everybody has a different body, so there is one surefire way of finding it, and it's actually when you feel pain. So to find the spot on your knee, place 3 fingers above the kneecap and search for the spot near where your finger, with your finger where you feel the most pain. It's normally right across from one another. So I will normally do about 10 rotations in a circular motion one way, and then switch and do it the next way. The next spot on the knee is next to the kneecap. And you pretty much find it the same way, 3 fingers pressed down until you find the spot. I just normally right after my Epsom Salt soak, and then right before I start doing my normal warm-up for my workout. Here is the conversation that I had with my brother. I will let him introduce himself and enjoy. Okay, guys, finally, let's see if we can get this one done. Alright, this is my brother, and his title is...
And I saw your other video, so I'm going to take time to explain that. Right, so the degree, right, so you have a bachelor's, master's, and doctorate degree. The degree is Masters of Acupuncture and Oriental Medicine, and then I also received a clinical specialty doctorate in Acupuncture and Oriental Medicine.
Okay, so when I refer to you, I say my brother's a doctor, and then they're like, okay, cool, but then I feel like I always have to have like a caveat, like he's a herbal medicine, something, right. Chinese, traditional, da 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 da, and I never know like how to say it.
We usually just say integrative medicine, because the school I graduated from is an integrative medicine medical school, but even that doesn't cover like in specific that it's geared specifically toward acupuncture and herbal medicine.
I think that's what I usually say. My brother is an acupuncture and herbal medicine physician. The whole world is kind of crazy because you have, for example, MD, chiropractor,
which are DC. You have.
Oh, we're not going there. Yeah, so. All right, great. So initially, when I told my brother about my knee pain, it was because I started to go to the gym. I noticed that I would have knee pain when I was doing squats and just things that would need to bend my knee. I first consulted with my friend. She is a physical training, whatever. I'll put a caption. And so she told me I was doing squats right, so there wasn't anything wrong with my form. So I went to him to see what I could do. So my explanation to him was when I would lunge, squat, Stairmaster, anything like that, my knees would hurt. Eventually, as I was using them more and more, they would hurt when I was going up the steps, when I would sit down, when I would get up from kneeling down or something like that. And so his answer was...
I think I asked you a few more questions at that point. I want to differentiate, did you injure yourself? And so now are you going to have recurring pain?
Well, because I was like squatting with weights and doing stuff with weight. So it was more than what I normally do with just my body weight.
Yeah. So, but we ruled out, so we didn't get any imaging or anything, but we ruled out that it was like a serious injury. There wasn't no tear, nothing like that. But I kind of concluded that it was probably just because you started using it again. So you didn't have that mobility in the knees that you started to have when you started working out. And so it started using up those tendons, ligaments, and even the fluid that is held in the knee in a different way. And also you probably do have some old injuries that are there kind of like lingering, that are being pressed upon when you're doing these kinds of exercises. And then later on, the inflammation that is natural, it occurs naturally from using to the tissue there from doing these exercises, will create some pain because of the inflammation, just the pressure.
Yeah, my other question was, so my brother has been doing acupuncture on me for plenty of years. And so one of the things was I noticed that this particular injury was different because of the sizes of the needles he was using. They were like about that big. I think you'll see it in the video. And so the needles that he would use in other places were smaller. So one of my questions is it because the injury is deeper inside? Like, what are you trying to get at?
Right. Well, no, it's specifically that. Like, what is it that I'm trying to get at? If I'm needling to get a nervous response, I'll needle toward the, toward the nervous tissue. If I'm trying to needle to where maybe you're identifying the location of the pain is, or the injury or cause, then I'm trying to get to there. And in your case, you said it was very deep, which is common. Like that's we also have like things that I see on a regular basis in acupuncture. So when I needle
is that
these
common?
points, yeah, it is very common. So knee pain in specific is not osteoarthritis, but even in people that don't have arthritic pains, we needle deep,
So
because you have
like,
to get to.
That's like arthritis pain?
You have to break down arthritis. When you're
Okay.
like, okay, what's
Let's not get that
arthritis? Yeah, it's arthritis is just inflammation of the joints, and so yeah, you have inflammation of the joints. You worked it out. It's a natural physiological response, but it's not chronic. Like you shouldn't have it chronic, and you'll probably heal from it, and you won't have the pain later on.
Well, yeah, it's getting a lot better.
Put it like this: there's a Chinese proverb, like that was saying. They say, a door that is always opening and closing doesn't rust. Right,
Yeah.
so a knee that doesn't get used often, right? Like you can say, "Oh, I walk," yeah, but you're not doing the same. You're not having the same range
when
of
you
motion
walk,
in
it's
the
just
moment.
like this.
Yeah, so like when you go work out, you're doing yoga and all of these kinds of things, and doing it with extra weight on it. Yeah, you're not. It's a different. There was rust there because you didn't actually use, like maybe you used to creep into the door. You didn't like, hey, I'm here. So that's the analogy there. So you are gonna have pain because you haven't used that muscle or those tendons and ligaments or that range, or you haven't exposed yourself to that range of motion in the past.
All right. Well, thanks for coming. I guess I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys now the part of the treatment that we're doing with the needles. Don't get scared; it doesn't hurt. Although you heard an ow at the beginning, it was just a blooper.
Yeah, you did really good at finding your acupressure points. It was really good. And what you see me do here is actually find another set of acupuncture points, and in specific. For the pain that you were telling me you were feeling, right? So it would be difficult to access the specific origin of the pain that you were describing to me using the other points that you were using. But the reason that the acupressure that you do is also still effective is because the fascial connections, meaning the tendons, ligaments, and also kind of like just an outer lining tissue that's very malleable that is in those areas is connected to the source of the pain. So when you massage those, you have an impact, you have a direct impact. But the points that I did on you were other specific acupuncture points, and the reason you see me kind of like just try and find them with my finger in such a detailed way is because there's several things that I'm trying to do. I'm trying to first simultaneously connect with you in terms of how it feels when I place pressure on those specific points, and what your pain threshold is, and if I'm on the exact point. And then two, simultaneously, I'm trying to palpate that point to see if there's a crevice and how and where I'm going to guide and direct the needle as I insert it and go through the different layers of tissue. It's important because that's how I'm going to actually be stimulating it to get the response, the physiological response that I'm looking for, that will ultimately have the effect that we're looking for, which is to get rid of the pain.
Okay guys, so here I'm gonna ask him to compare that needle that he's putting into the side of my knee. Compare the size outside of the knee so you guys can get a clear perspective of about how much of the needle is actually going inside of my leg. That's the full size one. I know it's a little difficult to see or to measure, and I didn't do a really good job of comparing too much, but here is about how much is inside, so it's a little bit more than half.
Yeah, and so what you're showing here, I think, is the redness around the acupuncture points, and that's actually what we want. So it's a physiological response. It's actually showing that there's an inflammatory response, right? So when you have a foreign body inserted into yourself, your body responds aggressively and it triggers a self-healing process. And so it's what we want. We've achieved success.
So editing this knee video, and I realized I don't have an outro, so here it is. See you later.
Go through the different layers. It feels when I place pressure on those specific points, and what your pain threshold is.